Hey, it's Randy Weddick from Band Pro Film and Digital, and I want to talk to you about this new demo film we shot in Tokyo using the Sony Venice. So I was really excited to be shooting on this new camera. It's like, full frame and has this huge amount of color range, capability, and dynamic range capture, but also to be shooting in Japan. I mean, that's like the coolest place ever. One of the first decisions I made in this film was we were going to shoot the entire thing in the 6K 3x2 mode, the full frame mode of the camera. And this is a larger sensor than a classical Super 35 by about double. And it's going to give you a feeling of scale that comes from shooting with a larger sensor that is hard to duplicate. This means that we also had to choose lenses that were full frame compatible. And we had the luxury of getting the Leica Thalia primes from CW Sonder Optic, and those are just incredible lenses. These lenses are descended from Leica's medium format lenses, but they're more than just rehoused, they're coated differently, and these coatings they have on them are so exotic and so interesting. They have this ability to render a tremendous amount of micro contrast, which is basically the ability for fine details to be in focus and then drifting into out of focus areas very gently. They are tremendously artistic looking lenses. They've got a really beautiful look to them, and they render depth in a way that is so Leica, it's just unbelievable. They really take it to another level. I knew in a few of these locations we had to get in and out of there really quickly, and I didn't want to lose a little bit of time rebalancing the Steadicam, doing prime lens changes, so I needed to get a full frame zoom. So that led me to using the Type EZ from Angenieux. This lens is a T3 in the full frame mode of 45 to 135. I've shot a lot on this lens, and I really like it a lot. I think it's got a lot going for it. It's got interchangeable lens mounts on the back, and it's interchangeable optical blocks. You can go in between Super 35 and full frame. It can basically fit on any camera you got out there. This lens is also a lightweight lens, which is essential when you're on a Steadicam or any kind of moving camera rig. And it creates really beautiful, rich, gentle, cinematic imagery. And the color rendition is excellent. The flares are awesome, and does all this at a really competitive price point. So in this shoot, like a lot of these shoots that we do, we have a really small crew. We're always slimming down the gear package to the essentials. My first AC had a wireless video transmitter in his backpack, and it would go out to his handset, and on top of the handset he had a small HD 703 High-Bright, and that was our main monitor for the whole shoot, which is a little crazy, but it totally worked, and it works in any conditions that we could throw at it, including bright direct sun. You can sit there and pull focus on a large sensor camera and nail it. It's pretty impressive. So a lot of times when we use these cameras, we'll use a MoveCam cage, and that includes like a cheese plate on the top with an extended carry handle, power distribution on the back, and a riser plate on the bottom. In this shoot, we were shooting a lot on Steadicam, so weight was a huge concern. So we were stripping a lot of that off the camera. We used the riser plate to get the rods out there so we could put our lens motors on, but that was about it.
On this job, we used the Glyph SSD Atom RAIDs as our shuttle drives, which are USB-C bus-powered. We were able to connect the Sony card reader directly to the laptop, dumped directly to the SSD at really fast transfer rates, and then we backed everything up to our 10 terabyte Glyph Studio RAIDs, which provided us with our master and our master backup. The workflow proved to be really effective, efficient, and once again, never lost a frame.
One of the features we had really great experience with is the ND filter wheel inside the camera. It gives you 8 stops of ND in 1-stop increments, and in the environment that we had, which was flying on a Steadicam, shooting all available lighting, it's an incredible asset. You don't have to run to go get an ND filter or anything like that. You just swap it out with the touch of a button from the right side or the left side of the camera, and just pop the right ND and keep shooting. It's amazing. I've had a chance to dig into the footage, and one thing that's really striking about it that's very different from previous Sony cameras is the color. This camera is the only one I know that captures a color palette in excess of Rec 2020. And this is a huge color palette. It means that you're capturing the transitions in between colors, and you're also able to gather more highlight saturation and shadow saturation. And this is what's going to give you a really rich HDR image. The ability to deliver colors deep into the shadows and way up into the bright highlights, but with natural looking transitions, is really what is the hallmark of this camera visually. I can confidently say that it can deliver 15 stops of dynamic range, no problem. But what's also nice is how nice the highlight roll-off is. You know, the curves are very natural on that. So in post-production, I've been using the S709 LUT, and this is a new LUT from Sony. It's specifically for the Venice, and you're capturing this huge amount of dynamic range and a lot of color space, and what this LUT does is it shapes it into this really beautiful image. And I'm seeing color rendition from this camera using this lookup table that I've never seen from a Sony camera before. It just seems more cinematic.
Our project incorporated all of the different flavors of the FilmLight BLG workflow. Prelight was used in the prep studio to set some very rudimentary looks. Then Daylight was used in the field as a very fast, run-and-gun sort of laptop-based system that allowed us to make some dailies and also verify that we were getting what we thought we were getting. And finally, Baselight was used to grade the final, both in HDR and standard dynamic range.
So let me summarize what I thought about the camera. We were shooting on it a few days after it had just delivered. The firmware version in it is 1.0, and there's a lot of features that are coming down the line in 2.0, 3.0, and further on. But what I can tell you is that the camera is rock solid. I never had any errors with it. It boots right away, 7 seconds from the time you flip the power switch to the time you can roll. It makes beautiful imagery. It keeps going no matter what you throw at it. We were shooting out in freezing weather with rain and all different kinds of conditions, moisture, everything you could throw at it, and it never once had a problem. This camera has departed from the cameras of Sony's past, which are descended from broadcast cameras. This is a raw data capture camera. It's fully a cinematic camera, and it feels like that. And the image quality is really natural looking, and it's just totally stunning. If you want to see this gear for yourself, come check us out at the BAMPRO booth at NAB, or visit us on any of our social media platforms. Thanks for watching.